Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brian with your Coaster Snobs. This is my very first episode, so I hope you like the show. Going to talk to you on today's episode about things that you probably didn't know that the amusement park industry doesn't like. So here we go. Okay, let's get ready to roll on with the show, and we are officially all clear.
All clear? All clear. All clear.
All clear? All clear.
Okay, so I want to tell everybody and tell all you guys about a conversation that I had with somebody at Cedar Point. I was at Cedar Point a couple years ago taking a trip by myself, and I had a fast pass that day for all the rides, and I was in a mood to ride Top Thrill, and I didn't want to wait. I was riding Top Thrill like over and over and over again. I think I rode it like 9 times in a row that day, and I was just kind of waiting, talking to somebody. I met this man from Minnesota, and he was telling me about his home park. His home Cedar Fair park was Valley Fair, owned by Cedar Fair, and just getting to know him. And he said, "Oh, you're from Kansas City, so your home park must be Worlds of Fun." Then I was like, "Yeah, same thing. Yeah, Cedar Fair." But we were just standing around talking, and he makes this comment, and he tells me, "They don't like your kind here." And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" It's like, "They don't like people like you here." And, I'm like, "Oh, gosh, here we go. What's he getting at? What's he trying to say?" I'm thinking all this stuff. I'm a paying customer, and I don't get into fights. And, what's he talking about? They don't like my kind here. But what he was really trying to say, he says, "You are a roller coaster rider. They don't like roller coaster riders here. At these kind of parks, they like families." And what he was saying is, a family of 5 will come to a park. They might spend $1,500, $1,800, depending on the park, with parking, everything, before you even get to the gate, And, once you're in the park, you do a full day, you might even spend another $500, $600 on souvenirs and food. I mean, think about it. Do you know how much those Harry Potter wands cost at Universal Studios? Do you know how much magic bands are? Food, souvenirs, Mickey ears. All that stuff adds up. You could really spend another $600 just on souvenirs. Parking, everything. So, yeah, it gets expensive. But what the guy also said is, "Here you come, Mr. Roller Coaster Rider, strutting in with this season pass. You might go in, spend a couple hours, get your free food, ride a couple of things, and you ain't going to spend a dime, And he's telling me this, and I'm thinking, I actually do that, I'll go to my home park, every day, just about, get my free food, got the dining plan, ride the Mamba once or twice, and bounce, I won't spend a dime, he's right, Now, like I said, I do have the Cedar Fair All Parks add-on, they used to call it the Platinum Pass, but now it's called the All Parks add-on, and if I go to Cedar Point or Valley Fair or Knott's Berry Farm, I'll do the same thing, get free parking, I got my dining plan, get some free food, but of course, I'll spend a little more at a park that I'm visiting. Of course, I'll buy a t-shirt or, just some other souvenirs for the family or something. But for the most part, I'm not spending hundreds of dollars, But, yeah, I can see his point that, I'm probably just taking up space to them. I'm not spending a lot of money there like a family of 5 is. But I want to bring this conversation back to Disney. I want to talk about the Disney element here. When it comes to Disney World, I used to go there a lot, and I mean a lot. Even though I'm from Kansas City, since 2015, I've had 3 annual passes to Walt Disney World. and I would go like 4 or 5 times a year. And the annual pass back then cost about 1,100, 1,200 bucks. I think it's probably up to about 1,300 now. But I would go like 4 or 5 times a year. Sometimes I would go with my best friend's family or one of my other buddies. But there were many times I just went by myself. I just wanted a cheap getaway, give me a cheap flight to Florida, take my annual pass down there, and stay off property if I'm by myself. But of course, I'm gonna always try to figure out how to do things on the low, the cheapest. I've always considered myself a smart shopper, and that's just how I do things. But at Disney World, when you go down there, you walk in the gate, and there's always these people, these cast members who have these tablets, and they're always doing these surveys. And they always ask you things like where are you from, what kind of ticket do you have, and like I said, I always have a park hopper, a 4 or 5 day park hopper, or like I said, an annual pass. Are you staying on property, off property? They want to know your zip code. And, at the end, they would always ask me, can I scan your magic band? And I was like, yeah, sure, scan my magic band. I was always happy to do it. Always happy to help them out with their surveys. And, they're collecting all that data for a reason. I thought they were doing it to help the consumer, but, I really don't think that now. They're just collecting all that data to help themselves. But like I said, I think I'm a smart shopper. And again, I'm a roller coaster rider, single, no kids. I'm not paying for a big family or a bunch of children, so I'm by myself, staying off property, cheap hotel. I'm not paying for parking. I'm not paying for park tickets. I had my magic band, so that used to cover a lot of things. But I'm not spending a lot of money at Walt Disney World, especially after I go the first couple of times, because after the first couple of times you go, the annual pass pays for itself. So, third, fourth, fifth time I go, I'm basically walking in the gate for free. So let's move forward to 2020. 2020, the virus hit the world, changed the world, everything got weird, and it seemed like everything got expensive when things kind of got back to normal, And I just wonder if all those surveys I didn't, in some weird way, make the prices go up, And, it just seems like, again, they want to know if I'm staying on property, which I was. I'm staying off property by myself. I'm not paying for parking, not paying for park tickets, basically walking in the gate for free. And, I'm thinking, well, they must be thinking, this guy's from out of town, not spending any money or little money. We got to figure out a way to get his money. And people like him, We got to get their money, guys like this. Or, they can't come, They got to make money somehow. And I'm just taking up space to them. But that's the deal they gave me, too. So I can walk into any gate at any time. I'm a smart shopper. So I'm going to do what I want to do. But the way Disney does things now, they just got so expensive over the past few years. And it's just gotten to be ridiculous. And with the annual passes, with Disney, you're paying more, but you're getting less. They took away Magical Express, which was a nice perk, I used to walk around all the parks in Disney Springs and find those photographers. And I would milk it, man. I'd get my picture taken every chance I got. I was really milking that. That was part of the annual pass, is the free photo passes, And they used to offer free magic bands. if you booked through Disney, and they don't have free Magic Bands anymore. But I'm not down with the lightning lane and charging for fast passes. Fast passes used to be free at one point. Now you have to pay prices for all that stuff, and I think Disney just got a little ridiculous with everything, and I just don't go as much anymore. And I want to, but they just got ridiculous with their prices, and I just had to pull back from Disney. So again, I don't think they're really looking at an individual like myself. I just think they're looking at a lot of people like myself who aren't spending very much money, with the annual passes, walking in for free. Not a big deal to me, but, they probably want as much money as they can get, especially after the virus hit. They lost a lot of money during the virus, and I'm sure they want that money back. They want that money back somehow. But I don't know if anybody out there is just kind of struggling with how much money you have to spend at, Disney, Universal. My suggestion, I would say, of course, Disney is different from Six Flags, Cedar Fair, but I just think it's a good idea to get that Cedar Fair Six Flags add-on. My home park again is Worlds of Fun, and I can go to Worlds of Fun and get a gold pass for $100. I get the add-on for another $100, and then for about another $180, I can get the dining plan that covers all Cedar Fair parks. And next year they've announced that that's going to include the Six Flags parks as well, where this year you can only get your meals at your Legacy, Six Flags, or Cedar Fair park, but next year you can get your your 2 free meals at all Cedar Fair, all Six Flags parks. So that'll be about $380 for that whole package. So just think about it. That's my suggestion. Anyway, that's it for Coaster Snobs. Just let me know what you think in the comments. And, I was a little nervous. This is my very first show, so I hope you guys like it. And also, this wasn't meant to be a Disney bashing session. I was just being honest. So, anybody who knows me knows I love Disney. But, sorry, Mickey. Looks like we are all clear.
All clear, friends. Clear.
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 Drop the floor, you're out the door. Fly high, Patriot.